Welcome to Under the Radar and Happy New Year. I'm Kirk Powell. Today's topic is censorship, and while it's not a very festive New Year's topic, it is appropriate given the cultural buzz in recent months. Now, I could talk about what definitions we could use for censorship, but really that conversation has been played out already by others. I could talk about how odd it is that our culture is perfectly willing to produce things that it corporately believes no one should consume, whether that's images, words, food, or other products, but really there's not much more to say about that than that one sentence. Far more interesting and fruitful would be to talk about how our insistence upon censorship entails a demand that there be censors. Not censors, but censors. The presence of persons whose job it is to censor things is not something we spend a lot of time thinking about. In fact, we tend to shy away from it, likely associating them with totalitarian governments, censors, or minders. There are two considerations I would like to drag back to our conscious minds in this episode. The first is that these people censor our various media forms in almost complete obscurity. While we barely think of them, we nevertheless demand that they do this task so that television and radio broadcasts or social media photos and videos won't offend us. In fact, it's likely we conceive of censorship as something very nearly automatic, and the means of censorship lend themselves to this misconstrual. The black bar, or pixelation, or synthesized beat, these are crisp, clean, almost mechanical. But it's not automatic. There are people doing this job. They are what a friend of mine would call disposable people, people that society uses for its own purposes but prefers not to think about or protect. And they're people like us. Well, not exactly like us. As a story on the NPR program On the Media revealed, censorship is a job we tend not to want to happen on American shores. But we need people to do it whose culture is similar enough to our own that they know what we will accept and what we won't. Hence, a lot of that work is done in the Philippines. It's close enough, but also far enough. And in a way that brings me to the second consideration about censors, and that is that we as a society are asking these people to do something that we refuse to do, or at least something that we find offensive and degrading. In this way, they are like garbage collectors for the electronic world, sifting through the things we make, exposing themselves to the worst of it so that our lives stay pretty clean. It's a significant emotional burden that we are asking them to carry so we won't have to. Why is it that we are not confronted by pornographic images on Facebook or profane language on TV? It's because someone did see or hear it and kept it away from us. This is the somewhat uncomfortable foundation upon which we base our indignation and complaints whenever an offensive word or image confronts us. We are quick to ask, why didn't someone stop this from being broadcasted? Behind that statement, there is the tacit approval of a system that requires some people to view and to hear what we otherwise insist should not be. It is not a question of whether or not objectionable content will be seen or heard, it's merely a question of who will do so. To borrow the analogy that gives this podcast its title, while the issues of what should or should not be censored figure prominently on our radar screens, the issue of who should do the censoring and what the psychological effects on them may be go quietly unrecognized. That's all for this episode. Next time we'll discuss the way that Western people think about choice. Don't forget to engage in the discussion by commenting on the video or on Facebook, and thanks for watching.